All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with someone who is new to the podcast, but I don't think you're very new to the local music scene. I definitely heard your name around, and then looking through your social media and stuff, I've seen some of the other projects you've been involved with over the years. So I think the best way to start this off, I mean, I know we're going to be talking about new music, but maybe if you want to introduce yourself and give a bit of background about what you do as an artist.
Yeah, my name's Jordie Ouellet. I've been a trumpet player in the city for about 3, 4 years ish. Started playing with the Sunrunner, played with Jace Bodner, played with people like the Delicious Hounds, Apollo Suns, Dr. Henry, Sam Singer. Yeah, whoever's needed a trumpet player and wanted one. Yeah, I've just
Cool.
been there. Yeah.
That's a pretty good resume. I mean, like all of those artists are doing really cool stuff. And it's a pretty wide variety of stuff too. Like, what is your background as a trumpet player?
So, like, I grew up in Montreal. My dad was a bass player, so he got me listening to like the Chili Peppers and like a lot of like Tower of Power and stuff like that. So, started off like listening to funk. Then, as a trumpet player, I was studying jazz like all throughout school. Did a little bit of time in the at the U of M doing jazz studies, but I was having like a jazz performance degree, and then I started performing. So I was like, why am I paying money? So
Sure,
yeah,
sure, yeah,
I
that
just
makes sense.
started digging. Yeah.
So you have also have your own music. I mean, you've been a sideman for all these different groups over
Yeah.
the past few years, and sort of the reason we're talking now is because you have your own stuff coming out, and you're not just a trumpet player. You do other things as well. So
Yeah.
I guess like where are you right now as far as your own project? What does that look like? What does it sound like?
So right now I have in the past 6-ish months I have rounded up a group of fantastic musicians. I got a Tyrion playing keys, got Any playing bass, Josh drums. Like I'll name them off at some point, but want to give a shout out to those guys. They have been making this super great. Yeah, I've been writing music since like 2022-ish.
Okay,
I put out a solo album in 2024. That was just me playing all the instruments and doing that. But yeah, I've been working with the guys. We had our first show at Side Stage in February. Recorded a live album at Control Space just like last week.
oh cool.
But yeah, we've been putting some work in. Yeah.
So is funk still sort of at the forefront of what you're doing, or is this? I mean, it's a hard question, right? Because everyone has
Yeah.
subgenres of subgenres of subgenres, and everything is something the hyphenated this and that. Like, do you have a sort of a Cole's Notes way to describe it? Is it rooted really heavily in funk, or are there other things happening as well?
That is a great question, and
I
I
mean, it
actually
sucks. No one likes answering
Yeah,
that
I,
question, but
I
yeah,
honestly have no idea how to answer that. Like, I've put as like the main description, I have like sort of like four genres that kind of like are like most like prevalent in the music. It's like a mix of like funk, a mix of sometimes hip hop, sometimes like folk and like indie, sometimes more jazz, and sometimes rock actually. But yeah, so it kind of just like ties into like all the inspiration that I've had playing with people in the city. Like,
yeah, that
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And those genres are very disparate too. I mean, it's there's definitely
Yeah.
connections between all of them, but
Yeah.
is that sort of on a song by song basis? Like, are some songs maybe more in the funk category? Some songs have jazz leanings or folk leanings or rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the main sort of like through line between all those songs is like more of the lyrical stuff because like I'll
Sure.
have one song that's like this really slow like folky tune that like doesn't really have any horns with it, and then I'll switch to more like a sort of like samba feeling tune, and like that has like it's like freaking like all horns there, but it also has some like rap in that part. So yeah, it's really a tune by tune basis, but yeah, the through line is just like the lyrics and like the content of that.
Cool. And
Yeah.
obviously, you've been, like you said, you've been writing music for a few years now. Um, as a trumpet player, I mean, you just said you have lyrics, you have vocals, you have. It's a little bit of a different instrument, I guess, than playing trumpet,
Oh,
right? So, how do you
yeah.
approach that? I mean, is it a different part of your brain you're using to sort of contextualize like writing lyrics and singing versus just playing trumpet? Not the trumpet
Yeah.
is a just, but you know what I mean.
No, no, no. That's very fair. Like, yeah, I've been in writing lyrics. It's like its own separate thing. It's like it has like a little just like its own thing. But I've been having to try to learn how to actually sing because like up until this point, like up until like couple like months ago, like I didn't actually learn how to sing.
Okay.
So yeah, doing that has been really humbling. But yeah, it's actually like finding the connections between like singing and playing trumpet is like pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
you're using your mouth for both. It's a very different context.
Yeah, and it's just like taking the vibrations that I would be doing with like my mouth up here and then just putting it down in my larynx, where my
Sure.
vocal are. Yeah, just like trying to do that, watching the YouTube videos, classic, but
I
yeah.
mean, it's a
Yeah.
resource, right? It's there
Yeah.
to use. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you mentioned, a few minutes ago that this album you have there's recorded live. Is that sort of the vibe that you're going for with this project? That
Uh,
sort of live off the floor feel?
Yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, like I have a real thing with like, and that comes from my jazz like background. Like I think that listening and to records and like hearing like the mistakes that are in those, I think adds like a sort of charm to them. Like I was listening to this Fela Kuti tune where it's like "What am I no get enemy,"
I
and
know that
this
song. It's a great song. Yeah,
yeah, it's a fantastic tune. And like it's honestly like I listen to it whenever I'm getting like too much in like the perfectionist thing because like off rip like they have this super epic intro and then it goes into the sax solo and off rip he just plays like a wrong note.
yeah.
It's in a minor key, he plays the major third. Like you know, but it's like the rest of his solo is just fantastic and he just owns it and I'm like, yo, that's I think it's like it's the thing that makes music magical.
I love that because I agree with you for sure. I mean, this is a different genre completely, but one of my favorite, I guess, performances on a record is that there's this Steve Earle song where he's playing harmonica, and the way it's recorded is you can hear the breathing really prominently. Like he's
Mm,
taking in these big inhales, and normally they'd cut that out. Like, and a lot of people would just sort of in the studio remove that because it's a little off-putting. But
yeah.
it makes it sound so much more natural. And the same with mistakes. If someone's slightly off key, or the singing is a bit rough, or the voice cracks, or whatever, I mean, I think that gives it more feeling and more soul,
Hmm.
regardless of what style of music it is.
Yeah. And like I feel like in the studio you can like take away a lot of like the energy that happens or that would have been happening on stage. Like you don't like it's a different sort of like in jazz stuff and in my music there are a lot of like solos that happen
Yeah,
in like different instruments and it's like you're not going to get the same solo as when you're playing in front of people and it's the performance and like all the pressure's on you and you got to like you got to put out. So yeah, there's like yeah, seriously like yeah, it's just where the magic happens and I wanted to capture that for like the first glance at this album to be like yeah, this is exactly what we're about.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's always nice to hear that where something live is gonna, like you said, it'll be different necessarily, but it's gonna have that same feel. Do you
Yeah.
having that jazz background and like you said with the solos and this is being recorded live, how dictated are the songs? Is there a lot of room for improvisation with you and the other members here, or are they fairly, strictly sorted out, in terms of this happens here, this person plays this long kind of thing?
I would say that like th- I'm kind of like a I'm not gonna say that I'm like a bad like band director, but in rehearsals I'll be like Parker's playing guitar and I'll be like, hey, you know what? Like if this song was like like a hot chicken sandwich that you pick up from like Popeyes or something, you need to be the pickles on this song, like and just like there Parker's like a fantastic guitar player, so I know that he's gonna like know what to do. It's just like I have to kind of say like yeah, like on this stuff, like make it a little bit more shimmery, like kind of like ease off a little bit. Like there are different like components in the song that need to be more heard, but like yeah, the most that I'll get into it is with like the horn lines because those are like ones that I've like actually written, but the rest of them like I'm not gonna tell my drummer how to play drums because I he's way better at drums than me, and same goes for like all the guys.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I guess how does that sort of giving up some of that power change from, like you said, the previous one was recorded with you playing everything. You obviously have a lot
Yeah.
more control there.
Yeah.
On this one, you're relying on the other players, and like you said, they're obviously like very talented at what they do. But do you feel like you have to relinquish a little bit of control over the songs to sort of let them participate in the creation of it?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that like I I guess that like what I hold on to is like the core of the tune, like the skeleton of the tune. Like
Sure.
since I'm still writing the lyrics and for the most part I have like the sort of like standard like progression of the song, like chordal wise. But even then, like if one of the band members has a better idea than me, I'm not gonna like forsake the music for my own ego. Like
Sure.
I'm gonna let them like there's this one tune I have that I had just like it was this 4 minute tune. It was kind of a somber tune. And the guitar player came in with like this cool chord progression that he was like thinking of like changing a certain part of the song. And then that just became like a 4 minute outro for the song.
Oh, cool.
And it's just like this like huge thing and it's super epic. And it's like, yeah, like I personally love that. Like it brings more community to the band. You know, I feel like it helps us build some chemistry with each other, like with people bringing their different ideas to get to know what kind of musician everybody is.
For sure, for sure. And then you, over the course of playing together, you develop that kind of like silent language between each other of knowing who's going to do what
Yeah.
where. And so when you bring a song to this project, then how stripped down is it? Is it really really basic, just lyrics and sort of general chord
Yeah.
progression?
Yeah, like I have a home studio here, so I can't play guitar, so I just like strum out some chords on bass and write a bass line, but you know, bass line is like whatever.
Yeah,
Lay down a rough sketch on drums, sing the part, add it to the Google Drive, say, "Hey, we're gonna run this." Give them a quick rundown once we get to rehearsal and kind of just let them fly.
cool.
Like the only kind of like things I'll say if is if it's like, hey, we missed this part that I want to hit, you know, or like, hey, you know, blah de blah. But I got so much trust in those guys. Like they could do anything to my tunes, and more likely than not, I'd be like sick.
That's a
Yeah,
good position to be in, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
having
I'm so blessed to have them. Yeah.
what I know this is like this project as being your project is relatively new. Where does this fit in the local music scene? And I mean, I know there's a lot of bands that have kind of come up and started and ended over the years playing funk related stuff, funk heavy stuff, a lot of horn sections. A lot of them are sort of leaning more towards soul covers and things like that. There's obviously people doing original music as well. Have you sort of found your people, I guess, in the local music scene as far as where this project would fit?
I honestly have not put a whole lot of thought into that. Like, hmm, yeah,
Just in
honestly,
terms of like, are there other artists that you think that whether you've played with them already or not, that you think would be a good sort of combination for what you do?
Oh, yeah. I met and saw Irvin Miller play and while I was doing some sound at the Toad.
Yeah,
And I think that his vibe and listening to some of his original stuff and seeing what he's doing and like just his vibe on stage, I feel like that's a dude who I'd like to link up with at some point, you know? And
yeah.
back
I had him on my show recently, and yeah, I
yeah.
can see that. I can see the connection for sure.
Yeah, like we had a talk outside the Toad and he was asking me about like my trumpet inspirations and I mentioned Tower of Power and he's like, "Oh yeah, their self-titled album was like amazing." I was like, "Someone actually knows what?" Yeah, it was a cool moment. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So then I guess with this record coming out, first of all, when is it coming out? I mean, people will probably hear this before the album is actually released.
Yeah. This is hopefully gonna be coming out mid-May,
Okay,
maybe June. We'll see. It
so
depends how fast this thing goes.
of
But
course,
it's
yeah,
all already recorded. It just needs to be mixed.
cool, cool. And then are you doing any kind of a show or anything to sort of launch it into the world? How is this being released?
I'm planning on just like sort of releasing it. Like we have the breakout at Blue Note Park on the 28th of June that we're going to be playing.
Oh,
And
cool.
we also have a show May 15th with Irvin on the bill there at the Tap House. So it could be with one of those, but I'd had a videographer come in and like record the whole thing. So I think I'm just gonna like, you know, do some like online sort of thing with that.
Yeah,
Kind of
but
keep it like low key, you know? But
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, there's so many different ways to release stuff now too, and the way music is consumed is there's not like a set way anymore, right? People go to
yeah.
various streaming services or they use physical or whatever. Um, how much of this, like you just said, you had a videographer. There's a whole part of this sort of being an independent artist thing that is not just making music now. You have to be on social media. You have to be promoting yourself. You have to be your own manager and publicist and all this other shit. Like, how has that part of it been for you? Because you've played with a lot of other people's projects as a trumpet player, but now you're sort of you're the guy in the forefront.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it. I don't like it. It well, like a part of it is kind of fun where like I like back in my younger years I wanted to be like a YouTuber, you know, and like wanted to make funny videos like that. So like for the side stage show I had made like a couple like funny videos to promote it. And I had some fun with that, but like the rest of it is like it's work.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah.
it's got you got to do it, right? It's the way people sort of
Exactly.
discover things. And I guess so. A follow up question to that then is how do you and maybe you don't have an answer to this yet, but how do you get your stuff heard? I mean, there's so many people playing music. There's so many people with the ability now to have home studios, to record in their bedrooms, to record wherever, and just release it within seconds on the internet. Do you have sort of an idea of how you can get your stuff heard by the people who
Yeah.
you want to hear it?
Yeah, like there are a lot of like radio stations that'll do like live performances and stuff like that, and like sending in some of the songs to like different like applications for radio stuff is like a general one. But I think that the with this project specifically, it's like I've had this feeling within like the music scene that like people are kind of leaning towards more like raw sounding music. And like a lot of the sort of like, and I'm no diss on pop. Big fan of pop. It's cool. It's awesome. But like the sort of like cut and dry kind of sound,
Yeah.
people have heard it before, Like they're not gonna hear the solo that my sax player played. Like they're not gonna hear like, just like the sort of like free sort of sound that'll come out of that album. And I think that promoting it with that in mind and kind of like having that being like the way that it's presented will hopefully do some like help that out in getting it heard.
And you're not necessarily able to promote it the same way as pop anyway, because your songs are going to be longer with all these solos, and it's
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
necessarily a style that, I mean, it's just sort of a throwback style of these things you're doing that
Yeah.
maybe isn't what some 15-year-old is listening to now yet, but obviously you
Yeah.
want to try and get those people on board, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, a part of me wants to like. I've written a couple songs that are like pretty radio friendly, but like a part of me listens to like those old like 70s like soul tunes, and it's like halfway through, it's like this 8 minute tune, and you got this guy just like talking to his girl on the record, and he's like, "Hey, baby," and just like that kind of shit. And like I kind of want to like bring that back, but it's super corny. But part of me is like, man, that's kind of cool.
Well,
Yeah.
especially because no one does it anymore too, right?
I
Like if you
know,
did that
right?
now, people would be like, what the hell
Yeah.
is this? It would probably get
Yeah.
get an effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a cool thing, but yeah, it'd be a pretty wild artistic choice now, but
Yeah, in 2025, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
So how do people hear this? I mean, the good thing about this being a podcast is someone could hear it, when we release it prior to the album coming out, or they could hear it a year from now, at which point your record's out, you might be doing a bunch of shows, maybe you have more music on the way, you're already released. What's the best way to sort of find you online and follow what you're doing?
Yeah, it's just my first and last name on Instagram. Same thing on Spotify. Just Jordie Ouellet. Um, yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
And I assume that you'll probably be posting shows and stuff on Instagram is the best way
Oh
to
yeah.
best way to find you.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on there. Like whoever I'm playing a show with, they're getting posted. I'm posting my things. It's
Yeah,
the whole band management life. But
for sure, for sure. Well, and I guess that brings up another question too. Is I assume you're still playing trumpet for other people
oh
while
yeah.
you're doing this project as well. Who are you playing with now? Like, are you pretty actively out there?
Yeah, right now I am playing in the just coming up. I'm gonna be playing in the John Green Swing Project. I'm also gonna be doing a musical show for The Little Mermaid with the Winnipeg Youth Chorus.
Okay.
I am still doing some shows with the Apollo Suns. I'm actually gonna be playing bass for a dude named Simon Burns. That dude is really cool. Um, who else am I playing with? Yeah, and then just like the regular people I play with, like shows with the Sunrunner, shows with like Dr. Henry sometimes, shows with like Hounds, whenever they need.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about
That's a
that's about
really wide range of stuff. I mean, the youth chorus, and then going to some of these other things. Like, so you're literally just sort of a guy for hire at this point, right? Playing
Oh
trumpet for
yeah,
whoever needs
like
you. Yeah.
yeah, whoever's got cool music, like my favorite project that I've ever like that I can say that like yo like I did this is Ryan Whiskey's project.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Like I just like and I've played shows with him, great dude. Like yeah, just like rocking out on a trumpet, like yeah, and then just like next day go and play like a soft like lounge gig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
it's fun. Keeps me on my toes.
How does that affect sort of your songwriting? I mean, like just having exposure to all this different stuff has got to help, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, yeah, like, yeah, whoever like comes to me like with tunes or I'm learning tunes, I'm like, my guitar player came in the studio to record some of his tunes, and I was like, mixing his tunes. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm gonna steal some of your flow right now. Like, that's you did something really cool here. Like, yeah. Parker Beasley, by the way, also really talented guy. Sorry, I'm
Cool.
just shouting
No,
it.
yeah, might as well do the shout outs, right?
Uh,
Yeah. Do you I guess like with this project and with the sort of live nature of it, do you feel like these songs are or future songs and future recording efforts with this project, is that sort of the goal going forward, is to maintain that live sound, or do you see some of these maybe getting more studiofied in the future, or other songs from this project?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm actually having a meeting with a buddy who is finishing up his like a degree at Mid-Ocean for his like schooling to become an audio engineer. So
Cool.
I'm gonna be recording a studio song with him at some point, and I guess I'll figure it out when the time comes. Like, yeah, most of my albums have just been like the first album I did was like the vibe was like, bass chords and kind of like really like slow and like I don't have the word to describe it, but whatever the word to describe it is, it is.
Sure.
But yeah, this one was the live sound. Next one might be something else. Who knows? Yeah.
For people who have heard the first one, I mean, how much of a departure is this new one sonically from that? I mean, obviously the
It's
setting is different, right?
it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot different. The quality is going to be so much better. My writing has progressed a little bit less down in the dumps. I'm a little bit more out of the dumps from my last one. So a little bit different than that. Um, I have one of the songs from the first one in this one,
Okay.
but I think that the version that we're putting out in this one is like way cooler. So yeah, I think that this one is gonna blow that last one out of the water.
Is that sort of not being down in the dumps thing anymore? I imagine that has something to do with sort of the overall sound of what instruments you're using and things like that as well,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah. Like especially with like mixing like bass like as like the chordal instrument and
Yeah.
sort of like the riff thing. It's like and having a bass line on top of that, it's just like a super heavy mix. And for the vibe of it, I think it's great, you know? You can't listen to it on your phone, however, but hey, neither here nor there. But yeah, like this one is yeah, yeah, it's integrated with more people, so I think that just brings way more life to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.